Welcome to Sequatchie Skies. The winds were south and strong on Saturday, April 5th as we rejoined the Tennessee Treetoppers at their Henson Gap launch for Phase 1 of the Radial Ramp Redeck project, already in progress. Temperatures were from the low 60s in the morning to the high 80s by late afternoon, a far cry from the 30s with the northerly of 2 weeks earlier. We arrived to find the valley showing the fresh green of spring and the primavera climbing the escarpment. Colin, Hodson, and Kenny Sandifer are in short sleeves working topside to place new boards, drill holes, and insert bolts, while the bottom crew guide the positioning and tighten the nuts. There's an explanation of the ramp's assembly in the last episode of Sequatchie Skies, which is linked in the description. A brief tour underneath the ramp will introduce the rest of the April 5th crew. April 17th was Maundy Thursday. The wind was straight in with moderate velocity at Whitwell, perfect for paragliders. According to Ward Halverson, Chris Swan, a P3 rated pilot from Colorado, knocked out a nice lifty ride. Ward said Chris came all the way out here on his recommendation. He's now a new tree topper and is also in love with the TTT. He'd top landed the day before, on Wednesday, April 16th, at Henson's. They enjoyed lunch at the Landing Zone Grill in Whitwell. Although Dunlap has long been known first as the hang gliding capital of the East and now the free flight capital of the East, this is the first establishment in the valley naming their business to reflect some association with our special form of aviation. They're pretty close to the Hodson and Castle LZs in Whitwell, offer a decently diverse menu at good prices, and get good reviews, so you may want to give them a try on your next southerly soaring day. Their information is linked in the description below. With southerly winds in excess of 20 miles per hour on Saturday, April 19th, it was likely blown out for paragliders, so Ward Halverson, Chris Swan, and Dalvo Villela went for a hike and helped better clear and mark a trail from the TTT Henson Gap launch all the way to the LZ.
Hey, tree toppers. Ward, Dalvo, and Chris.
Thanks for having us.
Really glad to be members.
I love this place, man.
Yeah,
just keep it up for us when we come back from Florida.
Right, we've been clearing the trail, and it's been intense. Figure we're about 3/4 of the way down.
Ward and Chris were back at Whitwell on Easter Sunday, April 20th.
Ward tearing the ridge, a new one. Very nice. About 10:30. It's turning on really quick. Approaching the house thermal, it appears.
Ward reported a marvelous fun Whitwell morning, including multiple launches, great teamwork, and super laminar air. Then a brief stop at the spring before Easter potluck.
Okay, last board.
Last board, last board. We made it to the red. Praise the Lord. Woo!
Drilling metal.
Yes.
There are many tree toppers who leave TTT sites better than they found them, investing their downtime in contributions all tree toppers can enjoy. Ward and Chris took advantage of a gray, southerly, and rainy Tuesday on April 22nd to repair the rock retaining wall near the bathhouse at the TTT Henson Gap launch. Hangdog Beau is modeling the stairs and wall here, along with treetoppers Tom Pruitt and Colin Hodson. Ward said it was, quote, wonderful to have such managerial assistance from the prior generation, unquote. Ward got wet again on April 23rd. He said his efforts to launch amidst showers were a complete failure, but he had a little fun anyway. Now that's commitment. Beau, Colin, Chris, and Ward were at Whitwell on April 25th, assisting 2025 TTT Board President Steve Manston with some tree removal and trimming. Steve is proprietor of Veterans Tree Services in Hoover, Alabama, near Birmingham, and hauled his equipment all the way up to Whitwell to get this done. Steve Manston and his green machine made it to Henson's to join the work party on Saturday, April 26th, where he used it to mount a windsock camera for the Burnside launch. Committee Chair and Crew Chief Kathy Lee once again rounded up breakfast for her faithful crew. Henson's had dried out enough to continue work on the ramp, but it was still plenty gray with low clouds, some even below us. As this phase of the project approached completion, the wing crews began to work out how to close the last irregular space. Here, Ann Horgan, Jim Gibson, Casey Harper, and Greg Wanofsky are discussing their options with the sawman, Charlie Yawa.
Here is going to be sticking up in space because this is lower. Well, something seems a little odd here.
So it has to be shimmed.
I mean, you have to shim. You'll have
There's a
to
bunch of
shim it
shims.
all.
There were a whole bunch of shims on the other side.
We got to do that anyway over here, right?
So, what would happen, you guys, if we just took care of it right here,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
and then all these will just match right up with the thing all the way down?
Hopefully it would. I mean, I think that's the cleanest way. That's my opinion. Do we have a board to suggest doing that? So, did I hear that we do have a 2x8 or 2x10 somewhere?
House, huh? We'll have to.
You got pressure treated one?
Yeah, hopefully pressure treated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should be. And we have it on the top.
Shoot.
If not, we could always replace
I
it
stood
later.
around my house and I'm thinking, what else do I need? And
Oh
that
yeah, I need a
didn't cross my
6'2"
mind.
2x8. That's right. Pressure treated.
I got them laying at home. Not a problem. Oh well.
You know, if we did that, we could just keep marching along right now with these.
Yeah, as soon as they come
Oh,
out.
yeah, just go ahead and take
You're
them
in
all
the wrong
out.
one.
Well, just mark it here because we want to get. Yeah, well, you're gonna match up to this. You're gonna meet this guy. So yeah, we could take all the other stuff out and get that 2x10
8 later?
and put it in here later.
Okay.
I think that would work.
Yeah, that would work.
Even if we had to go run, if we found out that she didn't have one,
Yeah.
we could go buy one. You know?
I'm pretty sure I have one.
Yeah. Okay, then we'll take out all the rest of the stuff, everything else, assuming we can get it done, right?
Early in Phase 1 of the Radial Ramp Redeck project, Colin Hodson found this piece of jewelry under the ramp, perhaps dropped through the plank gaps from above when the neck chain gave way. While it doesn't appear very valuable, Colin was concerned that it could hold significant sentimental value for someone, and so requested a little lost and found segment here. If it was your neck, your pendant, you were watching sunsets or something else from the ramp, and the story fits, let us know in the comments. We'll try to reunite you with your pendant. Other work at the TTT April 26th Henson Gap work party included an effort led by Jeff Lockery to burn trees and brush cut down in an LZ clearing project too long ago. Though every effort was made, from generous application of accelerant to fanning the flames with leaf blowers, the week before was rainy, and wet fuel is difficult to ignite. This project will likely wait again until later in the summer when it's dry enough to burn. Wrapping up the TTT Radial Ramp Redeck Project Phase 1, the crew finally had a chance to take advantage of the conditions that had been tempting them all day. The crew at the bottom was still busy encouraging combustion when Ward Halverson flew over their heads through the smoke to land under clearing skies. Steve Manston reported getting to 1,000 over before hitting a sink cycle and missing his top landing. Chris Swan sent this photo from his flight over recent construction on the bluff south of Launch and north of Cordell's. As if they'd not had enough manual labor on behalf of the TTT, Steve and Kathy Lee turned their attention to the Henson entrance logo rock surround, where Steve applied his masonry skills to replace the former rotting wood surround in stone. Treetoppers crossed the valley to Whitwell on Sunday, April 27th. Ward Halverson reported, 20 in the air are waiting for rides. Definitely good flying here, mostly northeast 6 to 10 with gusts to maybe up to 12. Some thermals trying, sunny and wet ground drying. Watching the cloud cover, outstanding day. I had 2 excellent flights. The second had lots of ridge lift at first, but then I eventually sunk out. Chris Swan said he had a really fun day and hopscotched all the way to the southern point, then couldn't quite make it back and landed in the bailout field. Lindsey Burns thermaled to 3,000, where she said it seemed capped. She reported nice thermals with generous sink as direction backed from northerly through easterly. Though pilots returned to Whitwell on Monday, April 28th, velocity had increased to blown out. Ward Halverson flew twice on Tuesday, April 29th, and approaching the end of his TTT visit for now, penned these words. Thanks, Roger, Alfred, and everyone else. What a terrific end to the time here. Reverse launching off Whitwell in the afternoon, then forward launching off Henson's in the early evening. Has anyone ever done both launches in one day? Probably, but it was awesome. Lots of yelling. We really love the place, the club, the vibe, all of it. And so, in the spirit of the great venerable frost, these hills are kind and full of folk who laugh at wind and fire and smoke They smiled as we came hauling wood, then helped restack it like good friends should. Chris flew with grace, I flew with fear, yet both got cheers and one cold beer. They clapped when I would launch and scream, their kindness far beyond what's dreamed. We raked and built stone steps with pride, while Colin tossed raw jokes aside. The ticks were fierce, LZ burns were slow, but we all let the good vibes flow. With fires, books, and bikes that flew, we left the place veep-duffed and true. At Henson's, hearts and cliffs are steep, and that's the view we'll forever keep. It was west and eventually strong on Tuesday, May 6th. Linda Burns reported too much west to southwest cross for attempting a top landing, so Curly Dunn rescued her from the Henson Gap LZ. Later that evening, the view from the TTT Henson's launch of Lights in the Valley included a wildfire below the Highway 111 overlook, but our local firefighters responded quickly and had it extinguished in no time. May 9th was northeast, which is usually rowdy at Henson's, but it was Friday, so Steve Manston and Curly Dunn flew nonetheless. It settled down a little later, and Steve flew again, this time with Jim Gibson. He said, "Nothing like an hour's session with Jim before day's end. Good things came to Jim and me, who believed good things were coming." Vultures indicated lift at Henson's on Sunday, May 18th, but winds were west cross at about 10 miles per hour, and the thermals were tracking straight up the valley. Steve Manston reported a rumble of crickets from the fields below as he made his way out to a landing on East Valley Road.
Fun little mid-afternoon flight down. I wonder if you can hear those crickets. It is so loud. Gentle breeze, that might screw it up too, but man, it's like a sea of noise. It was really neat coming into land because pretty high up you could hear that rumble of those crickets.
He got another 20 minutes playing with vultures over the overlook the next day. Friday, May 23rd was the best day at Henson's in a while. Jim Gibson reported conditions were strong all day, but flyable all day for pilots with high wind tolerance. The gust factor finally decreased at around 5 o'clock p.m. Pilots that flew earlier mentioned turbulence with strong thermal lift and associated strong sink. Conditions aloft from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock were generally less textured, but there were still a few 400 feet per minute thermals. After 7, a sweet wonder wind glass-off combination developed, and more than 20 paraglider pilots enjoyed that buoyant air. It should be noted that this was the first dry, soarable day in 2 weeks. Congratulations, TTT Social Committee Chair Ann Horgan, and all those who had a hand in creating Mayhem. It was a great success and one of the best in more than 40 years of them. While there was little in the way of the youthful exuberance exhibited in firewalking, fireworks battles, or other expressions of pyromania that were so entertaining in days of yore, there were lots of tree-toppers from all over, perhaps exhibiting greater maturity with combustion confined to campfires, and certainly having a wonderful time in a reunion of old friends while meeting new ones. There were plenty of grilled hot dogs and Kathy Lee's famous homemade ice cream available late into the evening. Of course, the best mayhems include flying, and this was no exception. Though blown out for most of the day, Randy Schultz, Ed Fogel, and Neil Brunette launched from the TTT Henson Gap radial ramp late during the short window after velocity declined before sunset. They all had beautiful launches requiring a full wire crew in windy technical conditions, and soared in what appeared to be a smooth westerly. There was a moment of excitement after launch, negotiating the mechanical turbulence coming around the corner near the Dodging Dome south of launch. After that, with another 100 feet of altitude, there were no worries with smooth sailing, or so it appeared from the ground.
There you go.
Remember, I used to do that kind of stuff. Show off to the crowd.
You gotta quit saying that, Kenny.
What?
Makes you sound old.
I am old. Let's go. Got the moon in the background.
Oh yeah, beautiful. About that time, I say.
As daylight faded, the bonfire began, and soon treetoppers were gathered around recounting old stories. Kenny Sandefers starts with the legend of the naming of Camp Optimistic, where he's gathering firewood during a downpour as campers observe curiously from tent flaps and RV windows.
She told me this later. She said, "Look at this idiot out here thinks he's fixing to start a bonfire." I had it piled up, a good big pile up, you know. I went over there with my truck and I got me a road flare. Stuck it under there, and before it was over with, everybody in the camping area was around. I mean, it was spin dry, you know. It's still raining, you dry on this side, you know. Spin around, dry off over here, and get wet over here again. Spin dry. Everybody just around the fire, and I always kept a big fire going anyway.
Oh, it was
But that's how Camp Beau got its name.
Then Kathy Lee took a turn, telling the tale of Kenny's snakebite at Henson Gap.
It was over there, and he
Camp Beau,
said,
yeah.
a bee stung me on the toe.
Something stung him on the toe.
I think a big old bee stung me on the toe. And we said, oh, poor Kenny, or something. And I don't know if it was that night or the next morning you realized it.
No,
No, it was that night.
It was that night.
Yeah.
You know, there've been kids playing around just a little while before that, and people playing guitars and stuff, sitting around the fire like we're doing, you know. I was gathering firewood, and I just walking back to camp with some firewood.
You had your sandals on.
Yeah, so I had sandals on, stepped up next to a tree to break a little old dead limb off, and bam, it hit me and walked over, you know, man, I got stung or something. Boy, flashlights. You know, and hey, you can see the two puncture wounds on it, you know. And I remember, where was that? And we walked back over here and couldn't find nothing, you know. Then it was getting harder to walk on. And, well, let's go to the hospital, you know. Halverson was under one arm, and somebody else, and they're going over to the truck, and all of a sudden they go, there he is! Ah! What? Scared the hell out of her. Squawked, squealed. Went down there, and we was going down 111. I mean, didn't have 111.
No, going down Henson Gap Road.
Going down Henson Gap Road, and we were going down, you know, and all of a sudden here come the law behind us. Or I can't remember if we passed them up or something. One of the lights come on, you know, hey, you got snake bit. Well, we went to the Dunlap Hospital down there.
It wasn't the ER that it is now. It was
No, it was in town there.
Yeah.
It's now a nursing home or something.
Yeah, and we didn't know what kind of snake it was, so they couldn't give me an antivenom. So they kept me overnight, and every time they wouldn't give me none for pain, they give me an IV to keep my veins open. And every time by the time I go to sleep, they'd come in there and wake me up, get my blood pressure and stuff like that. Next morning, give me some crutches, and out I went. Hobbled on it for about 2 weeks. Never got a bill from Dunlap Hospital.
How about that?
I had insurance. I give my insurance card and everything, but the insurance never had a claim to it or for anything.
Well, interest rate's going to be pretty high for you when you get the bill.
Yeah. Statute of limitations. That was a long time ago.
We eventually learned through more than one of these experiences not to walk around launch in flip-flops, sandals, or barefoot in the middle of the night, and to always light our path. If you joined us for Mayhem, it was great to see you. If you didn't, you missed one of the best. But Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial summer start, so it's the season for flying vacations in the Sequatchie Valley, and there are likely more informal and fun weekend celebrations in our near future. Thanks for watching Sequatchie Skies. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you like what you see. If you'd like to see something else, let us know in the comments. Join us for the sweet wonder winds of summer in the free flight capital of the East, and maybe we'll see you in the sky.